Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another chapter reading of Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom by Christine Brown Woolley. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button. My signal is acting up, so I think I'm going to be on and off camera, but you're not here to see me. You're here to hear the book. So let's get into chapter 14. We've chosen you. Not long before Cody married Robin, he and Mary went to Mexico for their 20th anniversary. While we were all excited about the upcoming nuptials, there was some tension. Mary told Cody she felt a little jealous and then said something like, "How would you feel if I were courting another guy?" We all remember that scene. Because at the time, if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, weren't he and Mary like eating at a restaurant or something when she said that? And he was very insulted by her saying something like that. And he couldn't relate to it. And he talked about how disgusting of a thought that was. So, her saying this, I wonder where she's going with it. That offended Cody. He said it was against God and an abomination. Mary wasn't asking him to let her marry a second husband. She just needed him to walk in her flats for a minute. Exactly. I don't know why he's acting like he didn't understand that, but this is Cody Brown. So are we surprised with how he twisted that? Not at all. During the trip, he asked Mary if she'd like to try IVF because they had a hard time getting pregnant. Mary's Leon had 12 brothers and sisters, with my six and Janelle's six, and more coming with Robin's kids. But Mary had always said she wanted more children. It was a conversation we'd had as a family for years, but she knew she would either carry her own child or not do it at all. So she's saying, for years they had this conversation, and Mary said that the only way she would probably do it is if she carried her own child, which means all that other stuff with Robin suggesting she be a surrogate and all that other crap, just a ploy, like I thought. Let me keep going. She had bonded with Robin's kids, and Robin especially well. It seemed as if their trip ended on a good note. We know because TLC filmed it, hand holding on the beach, cozy over drinks, swimming with dolphins. Cody apologized for being impatient when she said she felt jealous of Robin. And while he seemed sad about her need to try to have a baby naturally, he told her he loved her. When they got back, we had a big discussion about whether Cody should spend more or less time with Robin. Janelle and Cody thought he should spend more time with Robin because he was courting her and integrating her into the family. Robin, of course, felt she should get equal time, especially since she had moved her family from a new town. I think that they made a huge mistake when they decided to give her that so soon. Robin, very early on, was able to weasel her way into the family and into the things that the wives got. And as a result of that, I think she saw an end and she knew she was going to be able to have these people bend to her will. I don't even think they realized what they were getting themselves into when they did this. Mary and I felt like he already spent so much time with her that it was detrimental to the rest of his family. But our issue was still not with Robin. In fact, we liked her well enough that we wanted to get her something special to welcome her into the family, a collider ring. Cody had gotten her an engagement ring, but it wasn't a colada. Mary, Janelle, and I wanted her to feel that we loved her and we were happy to have her as part of the family. The sister wives and TLC went ring shopping. And TLC, y'all hear that? I wonder if TLC helped pay for the ring. We know that they probably filmed it, but why did they have to go shopping with them? Interesting. It's another of my favorite days, and it almost felt as if Robin would bring all of us closer. I still couldn't trust Mary with my kids, but when it was just the three of us, we did okay. Though we tried to keep things real, I'm sure having the camera crew there kept us all on our best behavior, and we were excited about finding just the right ring. It's for her birthday. The jeweler, oh, I always say that wrong. The jeweler asked, or just because? Yeah, just because, Mary answered. We were still getting used to this whole being public thing, and it can slow down a day when you have to explain it all to every person you meet or ruin a mood if you encounter prejudice. They explain things a lot to people. Cody loved telling people that he was married to four women. He loved it. So I don't know when it became a thing where they were really, really ashamed and it switched, but we saw multiple times where they didn't hesitate to explain. But I guess in the beginning, it was kind of rough. It's easier now just to say sisters, Janelle explained during that episode. That usually shuts down the conversation. Afterward, we talked on the couch about how much we love the detail in the ring we found for Robin. Robin was amazing about the wedding. It would be fun to include everyone, she said, especially in light of the moments of jealousy she had seen. She taught us some lessons about how to be a good sister wife. I asked me. I'm sorry. She taught them lessons. This girl really had them food. Okay, let me keep going. She taught us some lessons about how to be a good sister wife. I asked Mary and Janelle if they had felt I had included them in my wedding. And yeah, no. There aren't many things in my life I wish I could change because I wouldn't be where I am if I had, but I would change that. I would change that first kiss too. Robin asked our opinions about everything. She had us pick our own flowers for the wedding as long as they were color coordinated. I chose a wrist corsage so I could carry truly. She invited us to the cake tasting, which was so much fun. Robin asked us to close our eyes to vote on our favorites, and Cody took that moment to stand up and dance. Silly. I remember we all saw that episode. None of the wives liked the same cake, which was basically how we moved through life. We were all so different. We teased Robin for picking the same cake that Cody did. We went with them to pick the venue, which felt odd. Mary had a big reception. Janelle didn't have one at all, and mine was small and awkward. We joked about living vicariously through Robin's reception. She included all the kids, which made it feel like a party and gave us so much more to focus on as a family. Yeah, because TLC paid for the wedding. Y'all told us that in the book. Robin asked our opinions about colors for our dresses, which would all be a part of her theme. She went with brown and purple, but we all picked outfits that suited us. I wanted you guys to have whatever you want and to feel beautiful that day, she told us. She took it one step further by getting a second brown dress for herself so we could have family photos that were about all of us rather than about their wedding. It was also thoughtful. It was a great example of what a sister wife could be. There were some rough spots too. We went shopping with her, believing we were helping her choose her wedding dress. We tried on different styles for ourselves and standing around in our bare feet, laughed about how they fit or didn't. Each of us had short engagements, and the buildup for Robin's wedding seemed never ending. Laughing felt like a release. Then Robin tried on so many incredible dresses, and yeah, we laughed and debated. But there's nothing quite like watching your husband's fiance wrapped in white lace. She looked amazing in all of them. But we all like different dresses, of course, and Robin decided to make the decision on her own and have it be a surprise. That made sense. It's a secret, she said. You'll see. Months later, we talked about the wedding dress on set, sitting side by side on the couch. I remember this. I've got a bomb I'm dropping today, Cody said proudly. You'll love this one because Cody takes joy in hurting these other women. He does. And he knew that this would bother some of those women. Maybe it didn't bother Janelle as much. Yeah, Janelle did say that wasn't cool. But it really got to Mary and Christine. Let's continue. Robin looked as if she swallowed a frog, while the rest of us looked confused. Bomb could mean a lot of things, and we never knew what Cody might say. I picked the dress, he said. Did you really? I asked. Robin looked as if the frog had gotten stuck in her throat. Yeah, because she got caught. That was never supposed to be revealed. And Cody probably learned a lesson from that, because I'm sure once the cameras were done and he was at her house that she fussed him out about running his mouth. But let's keep going. The rest of us went silent. Cody said they had gone shopping together, and then he'd seen the one true dress. I was like, holy cow. Cody said it was like I'd seen it in my dreams. So many thoughts. His 10,000-yard stare when I walked into the room in my wedding dress, the special day I thought we'd had with Robin, the intimacy involved in watching a woman trying on dresses. It felt like a betrayal. We believed she cared about our opinions, but in reality, she cared about Cody's. Yup. I really hope you guys can hear me because my signal has been low for a minute and it's not moving back up. I think it's important, he said. I don't think it's fair that I not be involved in it. He had not been involved in our wedding at all by choice. When is the groom ever involved with the wedding dress? I asked. Like you cared what I wore at our wedding at all. It's kind of a slap in the face, Mary said. She saw it. Janelle saw it. Robin saw it. Vague smiles, just as we've been taught. I took off my mic and stood up. You don't have to do this way, Cody said. It's not very lovable. My behavior, my rough edges. I need a couple of minutes to myself. Let her take some time if she needs it, Mary said. I walked away. After we regrouped, Robin said she had asked Cody not to say anything. Cody apologized. I explained that Cody, as a polygamist, could be a different kind of an idiot to each of his wives. Cody said he felt numb. I apologized for his feelings. You can step it up, I said. You've chosen this. We've chosen you. We expect more. You better. She sure did. As I got ready to go on the morning of the wedding, I hadn't seen Cody for hours. Then he stopped by. Hey, is everybody ready? He called. He was obviously excited, but we had a few moments to connect. You doing okay? He asked me. Yeah, I said, I'm doing okay. She left out what Janelle told us, which is that she had been gone a lot longer than what we knew. But I haven't forgotten that was in that other book. We had each chosen a song for a dance with Cody, and we each had chosen flowers. I had worried so much about my bouquet at my wedding, but Robin found a solution that ensured she could be the bride, but make everyone else feel special. We didn't film the ceremony because it's sacred to polygamists, but we had our families there as well as mutual friends. We laughed a lot. The invitations had the wrong address, so Robin and Cody placed a jar with balloons at the random address so people could grab the correct one. Celebration not here. And then we went crazy with family photos, each wife with Cody and their kids, everybody. Cody and the girls, Cody and the boys. They were beautiful family pictures. We danced. We wore heels. Robin was incredible that day. I still remember it as an awesome family day. At least she's still one thing about Christine, like her or not, she is very honest when it comes to some of her feelings. I know there's things that she has not told the truth on before or that she kept from us, but she still manages to give Robin credit in spite of all the things that Robin has done to her, because Robin has done some stuff to her. She can act like she hasn't, but Chapter 15. Mojitos are delicious. As the honeymoon began, For Cody and Robin, it ended for me. 11 days. 11 days, and they knew exactly where they were going, reminding us that he didn't have anything planned for her. To be fair, TLC wanted to film it, so they needed to have a schedule, and they spent time with them in San Diego. Cody and Robin then took some extra time without the crew. We had more money, which we didn't have when Cody and I got married, but it felt like a gut punch. Who leaves for 11 days when they have a hockey team of children back at home? It hurt that he had planned so many activities, surfing, and that romance had been built into their trip. Cody often accused me of comparing his treatment of each of us, but ouch. He hadn't been involved in the planning of any part of our wedding, and he looked miserable when we took off on our honeymoon, even when I tried not to see it. I felt like his love for her shone as if under a spotlight. He compared her to a diesel jeans model. I mean, come on. How am I going to compete with that? It was just another giddy note of his infatuation. While they surfed, I dreaded the moment he would come home and return to my bedroom, now on every fourth night rather than every third. I didn't feel wanted. I felt miserable, like he would do his duty so he could get back to his soulmate. While they were on their honeymoon, I took my kids on vacation. There are always choices, and I think choosing to be positive helped me be resilient. You can't let other people steer your joy. Fun can be a choice too. But I never watched the honeymoon episode. When Cody and Robin returned, we moved forward in a swirl of kids' activities and filming. Our schedule was so insane that we barely had time to interact besides on the couch. We flew to Los Angeles for our first major media trip. Once a year, all the networks announced their shows for the year, so TLC had us out. We weren't exactly city people with big name connections, but we found ourselves sitting at the table with the TLC executives. They showed the pilot of Sister Wives. When it ended, everything went dead quiet. And then the applause began. People laughed and started talking. They loved it. We had filmed just a few episodes, only the crew knew about us, so we didn't know how people would react. So far, so good. Next up, panel discussion with a bunch of reporters. I don't know why StreamYard isn't letting me be great, and I keep seeing this low sig. Isn't polygamy a felony in Utah? Someone asked. Are you worried that you're going to be arrested? A felony, up there with murder. Yes, we are worried we will be arrested, but thanks for making a national headline of it. Polygamy is a felony in Utah, I said, and it's something we're concerned about. I hope that living in America, people can see that we're a family based on love and so on. We're just like you, except my husband has 4 wives, and no, we're not swingers. People were all about our sex lives. Then we spent 2 days in meeting after meeting. The press tours stress me out more than anything I'd done in my life. We had to be on all the time. Oh my gosh, the media stuff is so hard. The Today Show, come on. I spent my days trying to sort socks for a dozen or more kids, not prepping for prime time. TLC could take us out for dinner after our events. One night, a woman said, have you ever had a mojito? Mojitos are delicious. I had beer before, and we had wine in our house for Shabbat. It wasn't main. Ooh, how do you pronounce that? Alexa, how do you pronounce Manisschewitz? Alexa, stop. It wasn't Manischewitz. My sister was at the time a sommelier, Sommelier, and she found us a lovely kosher wine and said, you can have this for Shabbat. It's still my favorite wine today. Bartenura, Bartenura Moscato. I know I pronounced that wrong. It's like dessert in my mouth. I started drinking mojitos after stressful press days, and then I realized I like Moscow Mules as well. All that talk about them not drinking, and they have been drinking all along, all of them maybe? Let's see. It took the edge off those tough days. Yes, Mormons, fundamentalists, and otherwise don't drink alcohol, except when we're stressed to the point of eye twitching or realize a beer would be awesome on a hot day, or when we're slowly moving away from our faith. Things changed yet again when Robin entered the family as a wife. Before that, Cody had seemed intent on interrogating Robin into the on integrating Robin into the family, but he left us out. It was more like Cody integrated himself into their family. We had some interactions together, but Cody traveled to St. George alone or with one of us, or spent time with Robin at her house after she moved to Lehigh. After the wedding, we did more together, especially for the cameras. Parties, dinners, holidays. There were good days when I thought our bonds would increase and we would all grow old together. There were days when I wasn't sure I could be any happier. Days surrounded by happy, healthy children. We've been blessed with our babies, and at that point, Cody made time for them. When I was a kid, my family went ice blocking, which is like sledding in the summer. We would get large blocks of ice, put a towel or sweatshirt over them, and then ride the blocks down a hill. On a hot day, it's even better because the blocks get all slippery. Ice blocking goes way back for Utah families to pioneer days, and I have been encouraging Cody to do it for years. For a large family, it's cheap entertainment, but it also gets everyone outside and active. This probably provided our viewers with the first glimpse of how rough and tumble our kids could be. In one shot, as an older kid shoots down the hill, one of our little girls launched herself on her and they rolled off the block in a bundle, giggling hysterically. It was the good old days. But the nights changed after Robin married Cody, too. When Robin joined the family, Cody would come to my house for his normal visit, but then he would go to Robin's house. She had remained in her own house after she married Cody to tuck her kids in every night. Y'all remember, she told us in the previous chapter that when she was working and she wanted Aspen to be able to be a kid, and she asked Cody to help tuck in those kids, she was told no. But as I said in the previous reading, he can make himself available to tuck in her kids. And it was every night. How would she think that that's okay? The bird likes to act like she doesn't see that she was treated differently, and yet she got treated differently all the time. You caught that, right? This was the man who refused to tuck in our kids when I begged for his help when I was working nights. Ask your sister wives, he said. I didn't understand why he couldn't have done the same for me. Acts of service is my love language. Well, and parties. I did things for him to show him I loved him. For him to not do back. For him to not do back meant to me that he didn't love me, because he didn't, Christine. I'm sorry he didn't. Especially when he was willing to do that for Robin. When I understood that he was over at her house all the time helping her, I also understood that he loved her in a different way from how he loved me. To stay in this family, I had to make a decision. Do I pretend I'm helpless to try to get more help? Do I throw a fit when he does come over? Do we talk about it? Or do I shove it under the rug because he's going to be at my place only once every 3 or 4 nights? And if I try to talk about what's going on, he'll simply go to another wife's house. Now we know that's true because if y'all remember, he admitted that when he was talking with Mary's brother in law. He said it when they were in Flagstaff that when one wife got on his nerves, he just went to another. Some guys do great in polygamous families and they would find what I'm saying offensive. But some avoid their responsibilities by leaving it to the wife to take care of everything, or by leaving if the wife tries to address an issue. It wasn't a partnership. Even as Cody showed when I needed help when I was working and parenting our children, I often felt like a single mom. We've heard Janelle say this too. We've heard Janelle say that her and Christine parented together. This is why. I'm sure you're reading this and thinking, why didn't you leave when if you've been through a breakup, there are a million places where you know you should go, but you keep waiting for a sign anyway. Usually, a sign that you're wrong or that he's changed, or you worry you can't afford it, or that people will judge you for your failure, or that you'll lose the father of your children. And just because Cody didn't love me, just because I knew he wasn't a partner, just because I knew he was in love with Robin, didn't mean that I wasn't still in love with him. Girl, oh man, this is so sad. He never loved her. He didn't even respect her. It'll get better, I told myself. Relationships tend to cool after those first infatuated months, and things will go back to normal. As a polygamist, I had a hard time understanding what love someone more meant. It hadn't been my experience. I love my kids the same. I'd never felt like Cody loved me more or less than he loved Mary and Janelle, even if I had moments of jealousy or frustration. I, excuse me, frustration. Cody was different with Robin. Hmm. I wonder what we would have done if he torn off the band aid. If he said, listen, I know this isn't what you signed up for, but I'm in love with Robin and I think we need a change of plan. What if he said, I can't stand to spend my days away from her? It would have felt like the most terrible thing in the world, but would it have been better for all of us in the long run? What do y'all think? Do you guys think it would have been better for them in the long run if he just was honest and said how he was feeling? In my opinion, it would have been better because it would have meant that he actually thought about someone other than himself, because it would have meant that he was true to his feelings, because it would have meant that he wouldn't have strung these women along for an additional like 10 plus years after her coming into the family. But you guys tell me what you think. Okay, let's keep reading. Let's see if my signal acts okay. Chapter 16. It felt so real. As soon as we went national, TV show public, Utah state authorities had to decide what to do with us. Do they allow us to flaunt our felony offense? Do they hope interest dies out after season one and we disappear? Do they decide it's not a big deal after all and change the law? The answer seemed predetermined. A beehive symbol represents Utah and the LDS Church. About one third of the people who live in Utah are actively involved in the church. Think about that. All the busy little bees go to work, go to church, and then they report back to the mother hive. Everyone stays in line. If you drink coffee, it's a religious offense and you can't go to the temple. Alcohol, forget it. The phone chain for school emergencies operates along the neighborhood ward lines. Even now, I can see the neighborhood ward from my front door. If you're new to the state, everybody knows, and the local missionaries will show up at your doorstep to talk about our Savior, Jesus Christ. The LDS Church owns a TV station, a newspaper, and a part of the main street in downtown Salt Lake City. In fact, locals believe the IRS is based in Ogden because the US government knows Utahns will dot their I's and cross their T's, and everybody else too. If they don't, their bishop will counsel them. If they don't, they can't go to temple. If they don't, everyone will know. The church has spent the past several years trying to modernize their image, but people still associate Mormons with polygamy, even though the church banned it more than a century ago. They don't much like that we exist as a reminder. They weren't going to give us a fine or felony offense and let us live happily ever after. We assumed they would arrest Cody with the local TV stations alerted. and the talking points determined ahead of time. And frankly, we knew we took a risk when we agreed to the show, but we hope to shine a light on the civil rights argument for leaving polygamists alone. People don't have to like it. People don't have to engage in it. But why are they worried about what other consenting adults are doing if it's not hurting anyone? I believe that then, and I believe it now, that our children, as consenting adults, not involved in behavior that's hurting anyone, are making their own decisions about their relationships, religion, and even sexuality. In any case, our demonstration of a kinder, gentler polygamy seemed likely to rile up the locals. Our own church didn't support us either. When we decided to do the show, it upset many of our leaders. One leader, who had always been a friend, deserted us entirely. Church leaders didn't like the idea of the show generally. And then we talked about sex on the first episode. Oh my goodness, how dare they? They didn't even really say much about it. We felt everybody needed to know it was three separate marriages, that there was no weirdness going on in the bedroom. Seriously, there was barely anything going on in my bedroom at all. But our point on that first show was that our sex lives were monogamous and nobody else's beyond that. Nobody else's business beyond that. I don't see why they got upset with that, because that's not a big deal, really. We each have sex only with Cody. Clutch my pearls. The church leaders pulled us in and yelled at us. They believe polygamy is a secret, special lifestyle that should be kept private. Even the phrase sister wife is considered private and important. So it angered them that we call the show Sister Wives. How do you argue back? We were raised in so much secrecy that it's hard to know what is because of sacred teachings and what is because of fear. Just after Robin's wedding, TLC showed us in absolute panic trying to get out of Utah because the police planned to arrest Cody and possibly the rest of us. It may have seemed dramatic for us. It may have seemed dramatic, but for us, it was real. It felt so real. Here's the thing. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I understand she's saying it's real here, but at no point had any officials visited them. A lot of that, in my opinion, was stirred up because of the bald eagle. I think that he wanted what he wanted, and he knew if he moved out of the area, that would allow them to have more seasons with the show. And I think that he played on the fact that these are, and it very much so, even to this day, is very real for her. But I personally didn't buy all that was being said. But you tell me your thoughts on it. We got a veiled threat from the Utah County Attorney's Office. It sounded as if people called in and complained, so the police felt they had to do something. After that, every sighting of a police cruiser brought visions of cops bursting through the front door and dragging Cody off into the night. I kept thinking about my dad and how the police had separated his family. I had been raised to fear the law anyway, but when we learned they planned to arrest Cody, we realized they had to go. I'm going to tell you how I know they weren't planning to arrest him, or in my opinion, they weren't planning to arrest him. Because if they really wanted to arrest Cody, as much as he had gone back and forth to Utah and was taking trips here and taking trips there, and he had all those problems with his tires, it wouldn't take anything to arrest him. So I still don't buy it. Mary had already lost her job working with troubled youth after we went public, and there didn't seem to be any good reason to stay. Not only might we lose Cody, but anyone who associated with us could be at risk. We worried that ultimately Cody would be able to have a relationship with only Mary and Leon. We had planned to leave Utah when we went public, but we needed some time to sell the house and find a new place to live. Not to mention, herd all the adults, children, and their possessions in some reasonable manner so we could pack. We knew that Nevada, our family legally looks like cohabitation. We knew that in Nevada, our family legally looks like cohabitation with several partners rather than bigamy, as long as Cody was legally married to only one wife. Las Vegas was the closest to home city that would allow us to live our lifestyle. We figured we'd be the least of Vegas's problems. We told the kids just after Christmas, and I think that's when the first visible cracks in our family appeared. The kids were old enough to have opinions, and they did not want to go. They did not feel as if they had any input, and some of the older kids had planned to graduate soon with their friends. In their eyes, I think it felt like a betrayal. Not only were their whole lives suddenly in the public eye because of the show, but they were about to lose the support system they built in Utah. I know it didn't feel fair to them. Some of them started packing, and some rebelled by slow rolling it. But when the cops began to slowly patrol our street, our kids understood the threat. It terrified them. We packed so fast, just taking necessities, and then basically fled in the middle of the night. We didn't know if the government hoped we'd go and solve their problems, so they just let us drive away, or if they'd show up suddenly and make an issue of us. We finally got out of there, but we created an unwieldy unwieldy caravan of cars and moving trailers and trucks. So we could have been stopped anywhere along the way. Exactly. We're sitting here trying to act like, oh, we got to hurry up and get out of harm's way. We're going to make sure that Cody's safe and that he doesn't get arrested and that nothing happens to him. Meanwhile, we have all these cars, all these trucks, a whole camera crew, and all these other things. Every other car keeps breaking down and losing a tire, but we're afraid that something's going to happen to Cody. Yeah, right. When we arrived in Vegas, we felt like fugitives from the law and each other. Oh boy, that's where we're gonna stop this reading. Yeah. Part of me feels like, no, what is this going? This is gonna be Thursday. Yeah. So we're gonna stop here. I'll try to do a little bit longer for the next one. But let me know your thoughts on this. Hopefully you can hear it because that signal was low for majority of this. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Until next time, peace.